Stillman and Company, 1025, 1063. The Game, presented by Southern Bank of Tennessee, your bank for small business. We are broadcasting live today from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Jared is out today and for most of next week. So today we get a special edition of Force Company. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt. We got David Reed behind the glass. Should be a fun show today, guys.
We'll go easy on you today.
Yes, yes.
I'm just not used to having live people in here in the same buildings.
That is
so
true.
It's kind of a treat.
Yes, everybody live in person today. Jared, he's in and out in his virtual studio that he's created.
Where is he now? Boca Raton?
No idea.
Cabo.
But he will be back next Friday. But today, Force Company in. We're with you till 4:15, leading you right up to coverage of Vanderbilt and Tennessee baseball, the opener from Knoxville. Should be a fun one out there. Huge series between those two teams. I know Andrew Allegretto was on with Chase and Big Joe earlier today, talked about how D1 baseball's latest projection has Vandy as the 8 seed in the tournament, Tennessee as the 9, possibly setting up for a super regional matchup between those two teams. But it just shows you the winner of this series, it could be the difference between being a top 8 seed and getting to host a super and being a 9 seed and having to go on the road for a chance to go to Omaha. So excited for that. And we'll continue to preview that throughout the day. Also a very exciting day as rookie minicamp starts.
Yes.
Over at St. Thomas Sports Park. I wanted to start the show with a question. Scale of 1 to 10, how exciting is rookie minicamp for you guys?
Like a 2.
That's what I mean.
I don't really
maybe
care,
a little
but
higher to 4, maybe.
So I'm kind of in between you guys. In a year where you don't pick a quarterback, I think it is a 2. Maybe there's a pass catcher in there you're excited about. You get to see him run routes on air, and it's a little exciting. With a rookie quarterback, I think I give it a 4. I think with Cam Ward, rookie minicamp is a 4 for me this year. To get to see him for the first time in his Titans uniform, and you know what we're going to get. It's going to be overreaction one way or the other, depending on how you already feel about Cam Ward. The people who like Cam Ward, if the clips of him throwing in, underwear and a jersey are good, oh my God, we found the savior. If it isn't good, oh, well, it's just rookie minicamp. The people who don't like him, it's going to be the opposite. If he's bad, oh my goodness, we should have traded the pick.
This guy is falling.
This guy isn't the guy that we should have taken. We should have traded the pick. And if he looks good, it's just rookie minicamp.
I mean, this starts what we call overreaction season.
Right.
It is in my mind, the official start of overreaction season, which is why I do not care. I care about Cam Ward. I want to see how he looks. I want to see if he's, doing all he needs to be doing. But is he out there with first team guys? Not really.
No, it's only the rookies this weekend.
Right. I mean, they post a video yesterday of them all huddled up playing rock, paper, scissors.
But that was the full team.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. I want to talk about Will Levis, but it made me cringe a little bit just seeing Will Levis in that video. And we're going to talk more about this later in this hour. But it's weird to see him still on the team because you have another quarterback now. And I'm interested to see what Cam Ward looks like this weekend, but I'm just ready. You're right. I think the next 3 to 4 months until we actually start playing football, and honestly, probably through the preseason games, is overreaction season, where Cam Ward, you're probably going to see 10 different 15-second clips of him throwing a football this weekend. And they're going to be the reporters who are out there. I think it's 12:30 to 1:30 tomorrow is open at rookie minicamp. There's going to be a narrative that comes out of that, and everybody's going to overreact to an hour's worth of Cam Ward in his first experience in the NFL, when really it's not that big of a deal.
No, it's probably on a scale of 1 to 10, like we're talking about, are you excited for rookie? It's probably still in that 2 range for me. And you're just going to be watching a guy in a t-shirt and shorts with a helmet on.
Right.
That's it.
There are no pads.
No.
And again, it's not like he's throwing these routes against Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and Roger McCreary. And it's not like he's throwing to Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett. I'd bet a lot of balls are going to go to Xavier Restrepo this weekend. And we got to see that he is there. The Titans posted I I guess like a first day of school kind of video.
They're all putting on the helmets.
Like they all got to step up to the microphone and, it's your first day of rookie mini camp. What do you want to say to Titans fans? And most of them was just like, hi, Mom, tighten up. But
they seem thrilled.
I mean, it's rookie mini camp, but people are going to overreact. I know it. I mean, I'll be on with Derek Mason on Monday from 3 to 6, and I'm sure we will overreact to it too, based on what we see from Cam Ward this weekend. But that when you take a quarterback number 1 overall, this is what you're going to get. Everything he does is going to be under a microscope, and that starts. We're not going to get anything today, but rookie minicamp starts today. It really starts tomorrow with that 1 hour of media availability that we're going to be able to see.
I think the only thing that you could really get substance out of this rookie minicamp, especially for tomorrow, is like you're talking about Xavier Restrepo, his actual in-game speed, like for football purposes, your football speed, your 40-time speed. Obviously, that was a big knock for him when, going into the draft for his pro day, didn't run a really good 40-time, but seeing him actually in action tomorrow with Titans brass and Titans players around him, it's going to be interesting to see what that actual speed is like.
I heard you and Chase and Joe talking about this today. Did that 40 time really drop him out of the entire draft?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's the sole thing.
I mean,
there has to be something.
He was a first-team All-American last year.
There has to be something else that just dropped. A 4.8. I mean, I get that's bad.
I mean,
but if you're uber talented like he was projecting to be, there is no way that a bad 40 time can drop you out of a complete draft.
There are linebackers who run faster times than that. There might be linemen who run faster 40 times than that.
I might be able to run a faster 40 times. I'm going to be honest with you. In high school, I ran a 5.2, and then things didn't go great. But I believe I could probably run a 4.8.
No, I really think that it was solely the 40 time.
Wow.
The dude is the all-time Miami program leader in catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns. All of the receivers who have played at Miami, Andre Johnson, Michael Irvin played at Miami. Xavier Restrepo was more productive
than like John Gruden
them.
right now. Michael Irvin,
Irvin.
When I think of Miami,
Spider 2Y banana.
Great play.
The unboxing videos. We're gonna have the University of Miami send you a box now.
Yeah. No, we should.
The Hurricanes, man.
I share some. I know Jared had some concerns about the Titans signing Xavier Restrepo of like, hey, is Cam Ward going to force feed his guy? And is Cam going to try and push the front office and the coaching staff to get Xavier Restrepo involved? And I understand those concerns. But I feel like with a guy who's had that much success at, again, not the SEC or the Big Ten, but at a high level of college football, taking a chance on him as an undrafted free agent, a guy that your young quarterback has a rapport with, it is a very low risk, high reward move.
I said low risk. I said low risk when that came out, and I got canned on Twitter for it. How is this? Well, by one person specifically, who I'm not going to give him his name shout out because that's what he wants. It's a low risk action.
I mean, anything that doesn't cause you to give up significant money or significant draft capital is by nature low risk.
It's not like we're giving him, details of what was it yesterday? It was the second round receiver, fully guaranteed contract for 4 years. Jaden Higgins, yes.
Yep. Right.
Fully guaranteed. We're giving him low money and none of that is guaranteed.
And you didn't have to use a draft pick on him.
Right.
There were people who probably would have been perfectly happy if the Titans took Xavier Restrepo with the first pick of the 4th round.
Yeah.
I think there would have been, I know there would have been some people who wouldn't have been happy with that, but I think they could have justified taking him in the 4th round. And
with
people would have been okay
pick.
with it.
Yeah.
And you got him for nothing. You did not have to use a pick to get Xavier Restrepo. And if he doesn't make the team, he doesn't make the team. I don't think Cam Ward is going to be, overplaying his hand and trying to get his buddy on the team.
Well, he doesn't have that political power yet. He's a rookie quarterback.
Right.
I get you're a quarterback and that's the most important position in football and all that, but you're a rookie. You don't have as much power as you think you do.
No. And
just correct me if I'm wrong, Jake. If there were a few Saturday shows ago where you mentioned after the 40 time took place, what if he's doing it on purpose?
It went through my mind.
And it looks like it now.
Like, what if he just ran a 4.8, just pull up a little bit towards the end? Because in reality, to the naked eye, a 4.4 and a 4.8 don't look that different. Like to somebody who's not a scout, if you're just sitting there and watching, a little pull up in the last 5 to 10 yards could be the difference between a 4.4 and a 4.8. I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but conspiracy theories out there.
This is the place to have conspiracy.
Say what you want.
Yeah, you're right.
This is the show to do it.
We don't know. And Xavier Restrepo is reunited with Cam Ward, and I really think that he could make this team. But guess what? You didn't use a pick on him, so if he doesn't make the team, no harm, no foul.
Yeah. What do you think? We had this conversation last year where it was, will the Titans keep 6 receivers? Will they keep 7? What would happen if Restrepo makes the team, but one of the receivers you used to pick on doesn't? Like a DK. I think A.O. Manor would probably make it, but DK is the one I'm specifically looking at.
No, it's a good point of what if it's those 3 for the last 2 spots. In that scenario, you have to think Burks makes the team, which I think is
Lockett's a lock.
Lockett's a lock. I think Jefferson's a lock. Ridley, obviously.
Yeah.
That gives you 3. You could keep 6 or 7. I think that if they keep 7, I think there's a scenario all 3 make it. If you keep 6, all 3 of them would probably be your receivers 4 through 6, which is a little risky going in with 3 rookie receivers who none of them were rounds 1 through 3 picks. So
yeah,
it could be interesting. Let's go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Caller on the line wants to jump in on Restrepo. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, guys? Kind of just thinking, man, Cam doesn't have the political power to make things like that happen, but we know he's a really smart guy. So maybe he told his buddy Restrepo, like, hey, back off that 40 a little bit. Titans. You might take a little bit of a hit on the front end of your rookie contract, but if Cam Ward turns you into a star, then you get that big contract at the end of your rookie deal. So just a fun thought. You know, who knows how much that really means anything, but it would be funny for sure.
Yeah, thanks for the call. That's what we're saying, is that maybe there was. I'm not going all in on this, but if you're an undrafted free agent, you know that you can pick which team you go to, right?
Yeah.
If you get picked in the 6th or 7th round, like, I think if he ran a 4.67, he probably still is a 6th or 7th round pick. He ran a 4.8.
I think this is a valid question that needs to be asked tomorrow.
We're making up this conspiracy theory, which
I just can't wrap my head around the fact that a 40 time solely tanked his stock.
It's more likely that he pulled his hamstring or something.
Yeah.
Like that is more likely.
There has to be something.
But
else.
Again, this is a dude who was a first-team All-American who went undrafted. It's something. There's something there with that 40 time.
And I think it's more than the 40 time. It has to be. There's no way that a 40 time, which is an overrated stat, completely tanked a guy who is a first-team All-American out of the draft.
It'll be interesting this weekend. I know a lot of eyes are going to be on those pass catchers in rookie minicamp over the next 2 days. Restrepo, DK, Manor, all going to be main priorities when we're looking at rookie minicamp today and tomorrow. We'll talk about that coming up in a little bit. But when we come back, we're going to get more into Cam Ward. The first time we get to see him in the two-tone blue in rookie minicamp. What do we want to see from Cam Ward in terms of his on-field play, his leadership, and what is the Titans quarterback room dynamic going to be with a very crowded room right now? We'll talk about that coming up next. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to chime in. Force Company in for Jared today here on Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
And the only thing I care about, is my teammates in the building. And so those are the only things that really matter to me. And at the end of the day, I just want to win football games.
That was Cam Ward the day after he was drafted #1 overall, talking about what makes him the guy for the Titans to eventually, hopefully, lead this franchise to the promised land, a Super Bowl championship. Force Company in for Jared today. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, David Reed here up till 4:15 when we'll hand you off to Vanderbilt's coverage of the Commodores in Tennessee, game 1 of that series out in Knoxville. We're talking Titans rookie minicamp. First chance to get a look at Cam Ward in the two-tone blue this weekend. Again, we kind of went through it that rookie minicamp, not all that important, but everything that he does is going to be under a microscope, and that includes rookie minicamp. What do we want to see from Cam Ward this weekend to just get him off to a good start in his time in Tennessee?
Maturity, I think, is a big thing. And that goes for on the field and off the field. If you make a good play, keep your head up, encourage your guys, encourage the guys that you're going to be sharing the field with. They're all in this together. Not to go High School Musical, but they are. It's just, if you make a bad play, keep your head up. It's just rookie minicamp. I know you're trying to impress your coaching staff and your front office and make them believe that you are the guy that they drafted you to be. But at the end of the day, you're throwing to other rookies. It's not like you're throwing against your best guys, or when we get to joint practices, another team's best guys. He just needs to be himself. Relax. This isn't, a career-defining practice. You're probably going to be the starting quarterback, as much as the Titans will probably try to tell you that there's a QB competition. I don't believe there is. You're probably going to be the starting quarterback. So just relax. Be confident. Keep your head up. Be mature.
Honestly, the main thing I want to see is how much he's digested the playbook, because obviously it's, from the draft up to now, you're not really going to see much of what they're going to be doing from, hash mark to hash mark when it comes to being on the field 11v11. Not getting into that rant today. Not doing it. But just, I still see how much he's kind of ingested with just certain plays and certain, I guess, routes that he likes, just to kind of get a feel for what he's comfortable with. Now, I'm not saying, be a one-trick pony, but at the same time, you want to see what type of throws work well with this chemistry of this wide receiver core, because you want to see if he gels better with, Tyler Lockett or Calvin Ridley. Is he a slot wide receiver quarterback type guy, or does he like throwing the long ball? We all know his arm strength. We know what type of talents this guy brings to the table, but what type of chemistry is he going to build with certain wide receivers on this team? That's the primary thing I'm curious to see.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend. And we talked a lot about Xavier Restrepo in that first segment of, is Cam Ward going to be force feeding his guy? I think that's what I want to see. And I know we're not going to get to see like the full practice of what they're going through. We're not going to see them go through plays. It's probably mostly going to be one-on-ones and maybe a couple of like 7-on-7 throws or something like that. We're not going to see everything. But I'd like to see Cam Ward not get tunnel vision on, all right, I know Xavier Restrepo, he's my guy. I'm going to be trying to get him the ball as much as possible. I want to see Chimere Dike. I want to see Alec Iamaner get the ball and spread it around a little bit. I think this is an important weekend for him just to get his feet wet before he jumps into the full team. Once we get to the full team OTAs and when he has to really come in and be a leader among guys who are older than him. Like TD said, like this is a group that's, you're going to have some veteran guys who played 10 years in the league, and you're a guy who just came out of college who has to step in and immediately be the guy in this locker room. So I think it's an important weekend for him to dip his toes in, get accustomed to being in the NFL. But I think one of the main things that I want to see is don't get tunnel vision on your guy, on your buddy, Xavier Restrepo.
Yeah, and there's something else too, and I heard this from D-Mace. I think it was earlier this week or late last week. He mentioned just how him and Steve McNair had just chemistry when it came to, you give him one certain look, he knew what route I wanted to run, like when D-Mace was saying that. And I think that's the right time right now is to start experimenting with things like that. After like you're talking about one-on-ones. Say if there's Tyler Lockett's on a fade route to something on a one-on-one. Be like, hey, throw this more on my back shoulder than if I were to do five steps and cut in. Throw it to this part of the shoulder or throw it to this part of the field. So then you can start building that rapport. And you're like, you know what? yeah, I'll do that later on in the season or later on in practice or later on into training camp when it comes closer to football time, because that's what you need to do in this. You need to experiment. You need to experiment things rather than try to just,
stay with what's comfortable.
Right.
And I think that is, it could go one of two ways, having a guy you're familiar with on the team. You either lock in tunnel vision. I'm comfortable with this guy. I know what this guy's going to do. I'm going to throw to him. Or you say, hey, I know what Restrepo can do. Let me get accustomed to these other guys so I can get on that level with them. And I think I think what we've seen from Cam Ward shows that he's going to be that type of guy who's not going to say, I only want to throw to the guy I know. I'm not going to go after all these other guys. So I think it's going to be a good weekend for Cam Ward, getting to work with some of those new targets that
but
he's gotten.
I keep going back to this conversation you and I had, Jake, with TD. And that's bringing in Restrepo, I think, is pivotal to this weekend for Cam Ward because it's someone he knows and it's someone he's comfortable with. That's why I think going beyond this weekend, I think Restrepo does make the team similar to a Coburn that was kind of a guy that Tavondre Sweat knew out of Texas.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think that having a guy that he can rely on, even just in the locker room, is important to Cam Ward, because that helps build his character and that helps build him as a leader in the locker room. If this guy has his trust, he can help expand that trust throughout the locker room to other guys. Being QB1, you got to have trust in the locker room. So I think Restrepo being here this weekend and being, offered a place on the Titans, I think that's pretty important to having Cam Ward as your, perimeter guy.
Quickly off topic, the video that came out yesterday of Joe Shane as the Titans went on the clock at number 1, I thought that was one of the most ringing endorsements you could have for Cam Ward as the number 1 pick.
It makes me feel better.
But I understand that people are going to say, well, Joe Shane's desperate. Brian Daboll's desperate because they're going to get fired. But there was clearly something that it wasn't just the Titans who liked Cam Ward. There were a lot of other teams who liked Cam Ward. And guess what? No other quarterbacks went until 26, 25? When Dart went? Yeah,
25.
The Rams traded back with the Giants. So it was clear the NFL knew Cam Ward was head and shoulders above everybody else in this class. I think Joe Shane calling on the clock and basically being like, hey, is there anything we can do? Are you sure you're going to make that pick? It's a ring endorsement that, hey, Cam Ward was worthy of the number 1 pick, not just in this class, but I think in relatively almost any class, I think he would be in that conversation.
That's fair. Yeah.
It is funny objectively looking back now when, we first found out the Titans were going to have the first pick.
Right.
Us 3 specifically, we were all Shador. We're like, Shador is probably the guy here. And look what happened.
And I don't know if I've talked about this on air, but I remember I was saying Shador right when the Titans first got the pick. And then I watched them play. And you remember I came in, I said, I just watched Cam Ward's Pop-Tarts tape bowl. I want him.
Well, here's the deal. When I think we filled in for Jared one time in January or something like that, and you had a slew of questions that we all had to answer. And it was either Will Levis or Shador Sanders. Because that was all on draft Abdul Carter, set everything aside, you'll be okay. And then when you gave me the option of Shador Sanders or Will Levis, I was in the denial phase of just, you know what, give me Will Levis. I'm cool running it back, trade back, all that stuff. But then, Cam Ward comes along, and after I came back from Vegas, I was like, you know what, Jake Lyman, you're right. This Pop-Tarts bowl.
Well,
you're so smart.
Jared is 100% right in saying that Shador was a TV prospect because the average fan doesn't start looking at draft stuff until probably March. I think that was in November we had that conversation.
We did.
We were just being told Shador Sanders is the best quarterback in this draft. That was what the media had been telling us. And then as the NFL actually starts looking at them and as the fans start looking at them, it's like, oh, no, Cam Ward's the better prospect. But I do remember that conversation. That was the week before the Bengals game where Will Levis just completely blew up. And I was trying to make the point of, hey, you could have Will Levis and Travis Hunter over Shador Sanders. And we were like, oh, let's bring back Will Levis. And then he had the horrendous game against the Bengals and all that went out the window.
I think that was the game we all collectively said, yeah, we're good.
I mean, everybody remembers the Broncos game for Marcus Mariota. That was, I think, the entire city of Nashville at the same time Mike Vrabel realized it. The whole city of Nashville was like, all right, time to pull the plug. that was the Bengals game for Will Levis.
Good. No.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to chime in, you can text or call. We'll continue talking about Cam Ward and his first opportunity to show off what he can do in a Titans uniform this weekend at rookie minicamp. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt in for Jared Stillman today. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Have you talked with Will since the draft, and are you concerned at all about any awkwardness in the room?
No. I think my conversation with Will when he left was the same, and we came back was the same. There was no, you don't have to make any crazy conversations, and I think Will's done a really good job of focusing on what he can improve at, and I'm excited to see what that looks like for him. The work he's put in, that's Will's always worked. There's nothing about that. It's always been something he's done. And I think he had a very clear path and what he wanted to accomplish this offseason. And he just spent the time worrying about him. And at the quarterback position in general, that's all you can control. You don't control whether receivers get open. You don't control whether linemen make their blocks, and I think for him, just narrowing his focus on what he can get better at. And I think he's done a good job of that. And I think competition is good for everybody. Competition is good for young players. It's good for veteran players. It keeps their edge. So having guys that can play and compete, I think, is a good thing for our football team. It's going to make us better from top to bottom. It'll make those individuals better too, just because they're going to have to come in and perform. And there's always somebody else that's there that could possibly perform better. And I think that's how you get the best out of each position group and ultimately your team.
That was Brian Callahan talking about Will Levis and his shaky standing on the Titans roster after the Titans drafted Cam Ward first overall a couple of weeks ago. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt in for Jared Stillman today. Rookie minicamp getting underway. Cam Ward going to don the two-tone blue for the first time since being drafted and kind of leaves Will Levis in the odd man out position. I, for one, am stunned that he didn't get traded on draft day. But I think it just shows that until somebody gets desperate for a quarterback, you're probably not going to get value for Will Levis. Sam Howell got like a 4th to 5th round pick swap or something like that. And I think Sam Howell's a better quarterback than Will Levis is.
I mean, we certainly know what the Titans think of him because you remember that press conference. They asked him, what do you plan to do with Will Levis? Borgonzi answers, Will Levis is definitely a quarterback in our room.
He said he's a quarterback in our room, and you could hear him start to say right now, like, he's a quarterback in our room, and then he kind of stopped himself, which that made me think he was going to get traded on draft day. And Borgonzi did say that there was no efforts made to trade Will Levis. Maybe they didn't go out of their way, but I find it hard to imagine if a team called on Levis that they would have hung up the phone. I think Will Levis needs to never be on the roster for another regular season game. Like, by the time week 1 rolls around, Will Levis should not be on the Titans roster.
I'm with you. I think he's kind of the experiment didn't work out the way we wanted it to. And that's, I don't know. It's just, I don't think he's earned a place on this roster, especially with a new direction we're going towards with Cam Ward, your rookie. And then some of the moves they made in the offseason with Tim Boyle and Brandon Allen, I just don't think there's room for him. You're not going to come into the season with 4 quarterbacks on your roster. It's just not how it works. We tried that with 3 a couple years ago when we had Tannehill, Levis, and Willis, and then one of them was just your emergency quarterback that you kind of dressed out but never touched the field. You're not coming in with 4. Someone's getting cut, and I venture to say it might be Will Levis.
I don't know. I'm leaning still on the side of keep Will Levis around. Obviously, there's no future for him here. I get that, but at the same time, I feel like he's kind of going in the same direction as Malik Willis last season, where there might be a buyer or obviously trade partner in this case by week 1, week 2, maybe.
If you got somebody to trade for Malik Willis, I think you can get somebody to trade for Will Levis.
Exactly. That's kind of where my head is at. We all get it. Malik Willis didn't have the best of times here in Nashville. Same thing for Will Levis. I initially last season, I was like, you know what? Just run it back with Will Levis because this franchise can't do any better. Just run it back with them, get a lot of good draft picks, and just build that way, build through the draft. Well, then you go draft a guy like Cam Ward. Now if I am translating this correctly from what Brian Callahan said in that little clip there, the Callahanese is what I'm going to call it. Brian Callahan said it's good to have competition. It's good to have competition early, which means you build a stock for Will Levis, for a trade partner.
Right. And I think that's what it's going to be. Like, Malik Willis looked decent in the preseason games last year. He had that game in New Orleans where he hit Bryce Oliver for a couple of touchdowns.
Beautiful throws.
And, the next week he was traded for a 7th round pick. I think you could get even better value for Will Levis, but it doesn't make sense to keep him around for either side. I think Will Levis would rather be pretty much anywhere else but here because he knows that he will never be the starting quarterback here again. I think
burned his bridge.
Will Levis still wants to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Like, drafting Cam Ward doesn't change that for Will Levis, but he knows he's not going to be able to do it here. For the Titans, I told you I was going to make an analogy, a Jared-like analogy here. having Will Levis in this quarterback room is like inviting the girl you used to be engaged to your wedding.
Oh my God, that is such a Jared analogy.
That's how it feels to me. It's like, oh, you proposed to this girl, you thought she might be the one, but
next you're gonna tell us how great divorce is.
You know, divorce isn't always a bad thing, I believe were his exact words. But it feels like that. Like you proposed to Will Levis, you thought he was the one, but guess what? He cheated on you, and now you broke it off, and you found this new girl, and you're ready to get married. You don't invite Will Levis to the wedding.
I don't think he cheated on you. I just think you kind of outgrew each other.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. But yes, you broke it off, and I don't see how there isn't some awkwardness in that quarterback room with Cam Ward still having the guy who was supposed to be the guy before him in that room, and for Will Levis knowing that there's no vertical growth for him possible in this organization left. Like it feels like it needs to be an amicable break. You can find somebody who maybe gives you a 6th or a 7th in the preseason. And, I think that's the only option.
I don't know. I still think Will Levis maybe makes the final roster. Tim Boyle ends up not making the final roster and somehow stays on practice squad. Does that sound valid?
I think that's what it's probably going to be.
Because that's what it's leaning towards.
Like Allen's the backup.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%.
Ward's the starter. Allen's the backup.
All 1,300 career yards of his.
Which I think
it's
funny because Jared said before free agency that he thought Brandon Allen was the perfect backup for the number 1 pick as a quarterback. And I agree. It's a guy who's not going to threaten you, but isn't going to burn the house down if he has to get into a game. And he's not going to win you a game, but I don't think he's going to throw 3 picks and completely blow it up.
He's not your Mason Rudolph.
No.
Yeah.
Or Jameis Winston. And I would have liked Jameis Winston here because I think he could have given Cam Ward the vibes. Yes, we're going to eat some W's, but also the idea that you give Cam Ward a guy who's been through what he's going through, being the number 1 overall pick and being the supposed savior of a franchise. Like, I think Jameis Winston could have given Cam Ward some valuable insights, and also he would have been fun to have around.
Let's say they do decide to trade Will Levis this offseason. Wherever he goes, whether that be Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, whatever, is he the starter wherever he goes?
No. I think Jacksonville would be perfect for him.
Yep. I do too.
Reunite him with Liam Cohen, and he's not going to be the starter, but is Trevor Lawrence really entrenched in that job? Like, can you definitively say 4 years from now, Trevor Lawrence is the starting quarterback in Jacksonville? I don't know if you can say that.
You got to get someone to take on that contract.
Financially,
no, I think his contract would be up in 4 years. I'm saying I don't know if he gets beyond that unless things change in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, you make a valid point. And also bringing Will Levis into that Jacksonville identity is perfect. One, because their draft capital right now is depleted because of Travis Hunter. I think they got, a 6th round pick in return of all these draft picks?
Yeah.
So, use that draft pick on Will Levis if you were to trade.
That's true.
That's the perfect scenario.
Throw them all out.
Just throw them away. Like this new GM they got, I don't know how to describe his format of being a general manager, but just get rid of all your draft picks.
Well, this is the guy that he traded 3 second-round picks to move up from 7 to 6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Sonny Weaver absolutely fleeced that guy.
I'll be honest. Will Levis sounds great in Jacksonville.
I really hope people understood.
What's the guy's name? Jeff Carson.
Jeff Carson
in draft day.
Yep. Or no, what was the Seattle guy?
Oh, I forget.
It was John.
Jeff Carson is the Jacksonville guy.
Yeah, he's a young kid.
Yeah, he
doesn't know.
The young guy.
Yeah, what's the thing on
Who are you gonna take? Oh,
what's wrong with Bo? Tell me what's wrong with Bo. I need to know right now.
That was my backup pick. That's my favorite line in the movie. It's like, they took my pick. So like an NFL GM saying that would be one of the funniest things ever.
It's like a fantasy draft.
615-737-1025. Be sure to tune in to 94.9 The Fan tonight as the Nashville Sounds take on Norfolk. Pregame begins at 6:20. First pitch is at 6:35. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan is presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. We'll keep talking about this crowded quarterback room for the Titans on the other side. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt in for Jared Stillman today. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Yeah. How do you think he'll do as far as, he has been a great leader throughout his career. Then he steps into now a locker room with guys who are older than him. What's that transition like from y'all's experience for a young guy coming in, trying to find his way with older guys around him?
A lot of that was, we talked with him before the draft. He's got great awareness in terms of where he's at. And he knows that, stepping into an NFL locker room, he's going to have to earn the respect of everybody in that locker room. And, just first building relationships with everyone, on the team is a big part of it. But that's one of the special things about him that we kind of learned through the process is that he has great awareness. And I think he knows that he has to earn the respect of everyone here.
That was Mike Borgonzi talking about Cam Ward and the leadership that he can immediately bring to this locker room. It's going to be tough. You're a 23-year-old hopping into a room with a lot of veterans, but Cam Ward going to try and be a leader right off the bat starting this weekend as he takes on rookie minicamp. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt filling in for Jared Stillman today. We are the Force Company crew. You can find us again tomorrow, 9 to 11 a.m. For our usual time slot. But still talking Titans rookie minicamp here and talking specifically about this Titans quarterback room. Is Will Levis going to be on the roster by the end of training camp? I think we all kind of collectively agree, probably not. And that's probably the best thing for this team. You don't really keep the predecessor in the same room as the guy who's taking his job. Like there are examples of this, like last year with the Bears. Justin Fields was gone even before they made the Caleb Williams pick.
That's how we knew.
Right. Like as soon as they traded Justin Fields, you knew it was going to be Caleb Williams, number 1 overall. This is a little different than like the last time the Titans picked a quarterback high with Marcus Mariota, because Mettenberger was in that room. And I know I saw on the on Bussin' with the Boys when they had Marcus on a few weeks ago. I guess Taylor Lewan was saying how he wanted to stand up for his boy Met, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, Zach, you're going to beat this guy out," or something like that. It's a little different, though, because Zach Mettenberger didn't get a whole offseason of hype. Will Levis did get a whole offseason of hype.
And they anointed him as a captain.
Right. Will Levis was basically like, when Amy fired Mike Vrabel, she put in her statement that we have a promising young quarterback. Now you've already drafted the next guy just over a year later. You can't keep Will Levis in that room. With Mettenberger, I know he didn't make the team the year Marcus was there, but I know there was a whole thing of like, oh, Mettenberger feels like he can compete for the job. It's like, all right, Zach, you were a 6th round pick who played in 7 games and went 0-6 in his 1 year as the quarterback and got clowned by JJ Watt. Like, we don't care if you're in the room or not. I think Will Levis is a different scenario. You committed to this guy before the year. It didn't work out. You got to move on.
You bring up an interesting point I just thought about, Frazier. Do they give Cam Ward a captain's badge in his rookie year?
Absolutely not.
I hope not. But you've already given him Ward Moon's jersey, so why not?
Absolutely not. Listen, I understand the whole number thing. We've been through this conversation. Not going to get into that. You cannot, by all means, you cannot give Cam Ward a C on his jersey. If you do that, 2 things happen. He goes down the tube. Number 1 is tainted, and the captaincy of a quarterback is tainted as well.
Straight up. Have to resort to naked gardening.
No, we're not doing that.
I think Cam will 100% be a captain year 2.
Sure.
But I agree, as a rookie, make him earn it. Come in, be a leader for a year.
Who would you give it to on offense?
On offense, Ridley, probably.
I can think of 2.
Zeitler.
Bingo.
Maybe.
I was going to say Pollard.
Pollard probably 2. Yeah. If you're doing 3 or probably 2 on offense, 2 on defense, 1 on special teams.
We already know who special teams is going to be.
Special teams. Yeah.
Morgan Cox.
It'll be Morgan Cox. Your defense will be Big Jeff and Hooker.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
And then offense, I think you go one of the offensive linemen, maybe Cushenberry.
For me, it's Zeitler and Lockett.
I think probably, honestly, that's pretty good.
That's got to be it. I mean, he's been a true leader, not only on the field. We haven't seen that yet, but we've seen it via social media, congratulating every single draft pick.
Yeah.
Come on. You're showing leadership right there.
But those are two guys who have not played for this team yet. So you wonder if maybe they want to go with someone a little more experienced.
That's why I think Pollard.
I could see it being Pollard. I could see it being maybe Cushenberry, maybe Skoronski. I don't know. Like he's in his third year now. Who knows? But I agree. I think Ward probably should not be a captain right off the bat.
Man, he's in his third year.
Where'd
the time go?
Crazy. It flies by. Texter on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We're not going to get into this, but he says Mettenberger was better than Levis. I don't know about that. But I mean, did Mettenberger have a 4-touchdown game in his debut to win and engineer a 14-point comeback in the last 3 minutes of a game on the road?
No. I can think of 2 Titans quarterbacks that had 4 passing touchdowns in their debut, though.
Please do not let Cam Ward throw for 4 touchdowns in his first game. Like,
throw for 5.
No, throw for 2 touchdowns and a pick. That would be phenomenal.
A modest one, maybe 2 picks.
We cannot have another 4 touchdown because there's only been 3 ever, and 2 of them have been Titans bust quarterbacks.
Who's the other one?
It was a long time ago.
Fran Tarkenton?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, you might be right.
I'm looking this up now.
You might be right. Let's quickly go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Adam is on the line wanting to chime in. Adam, good afternoon. Go ahead.
What's up, Forest Company, guys? Man, hey, so this hearing you talk about Levis kind of makes me sick. Now, I do like the analogy that he's like inviting the ex to the wedding, because, but here's my thing, man. When he
we might have lost Adam. Oh, here we go.
Or a young quarterback. I was like, oh, we got a young quarterback. And then whenever he ended up doing the same thing against the Jets, I'm like, okay, he's real dumb. Like, I will never trust this dude again. And so I don't want him tainting my new quarterback, man. Don't put him anywhere around him. Like, you're going to rub off on. I don't want them dressing the same. I don't want them acting the same. I don't want them dating the same women. I want them in completely different parts of the earth, because I don't want him being anything like Will Levis, man. I don't know. Will rubbed me the wrong way, dude. I don't want my new quarterback being anything like him.
Adam, wait a minute. What about if Cam Ward rubs off on Will Levis in the right way? You get what I'm saying?
Why do I care about him, though, dude? I don't.
It's draft capital.
It's more likely that he's going to poison him, dude. If you put a healthy piece of fruit and a bad piece of fruit in a bowl, happen, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a bad feeling about it.
That's a good point, Adam. Thank you for the call. Yeah, it's a good point. Will Levis has shown that he's not very good at decision making, and there's the personality stuff too that I think a lot of NFL teams were turned off by. That I don't know. I not that I think Cam Ward is super impressionable and is just going to pick this up from Will Levis, but I do think that he needs to be out of the room.
Well, if Cam Ward starts eating bananas with the peel on and
putting mayo in his coffee, we know what happened.
We know where it came from. It is Fran Tarkenton, by the way.
That was a generational pull there from you.
Yeah,
I knew it was
elite ball knowledge.
It was a while back, but yes, the only 2 in the last 30 years.
It's Will and Marcus.
So I'm asking now, Cam Ward have a mediocre debut.
Throw for a modest touchdown.
Yeah, like throw for 206, 2 touchdowns and a pick.
How about we just throw
13 of 18, something like that?
How about a touchdown, 150, and just hand the ball off 20 times?
There we go.
Is that right?
In.
Sounds familiar, Todd.
I'm just saying.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Make sure to tune in right after us here on 102.5 The Game for Vanderbilt baseball as the Commodores take on the Tennessee Volunteers. Pregame begins at 4:15, first pitch at 4:30. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Hour number 1 in the books. When we come back, we'll get off Cam Ward a little bit. Who else are we looking forward to seeing this weekend? I'm looking at the pass catchers. We'll get into that next. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt in for Jared today. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Stillman and Company, presented by the Southern Bank of Tennessee, your bank for small business. The Force Company crew in for Jared today. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Guys, we're going off grid here. Breaking news.
Is it actually breaking?
It is breaking news from Ian Rappaport. One of the funniest signings I have ever seen in my life. I'll read it word for word because I saw this pop up and it made me literally laugh out loud. The 49ers have added tackle depth, signing offensive linemen Andre Dillard and Nicholas Petit-Frere.
Oh my gosh. Let's go.
To get both of them in one swing.
That is, do you hate your offensive line? Are you trying to get Brock Purdy killed?
That is, I saw that pop up because it cut off. It said Andre Dillard and Nicholas. And I was like, if this is PT, the 49ers, like, did they not watch their tape?
Well, Dillard had a stint with the 49ers. That's the whole reason.
Right. I guess with
Ran, I think.
No. Dillard was only with the Eagles. He was a first round pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking?
Doesn't matter. Brunskill.
Yes.
Probably. Yes. I cannot believe that Andre Dillard and Nicholas Petit-Frere, first of all, got NFL jobs. Second of all, on the same day with the same team.
They hate quarterbacks. Someone's got a hit out on Brock Purdy, and this was their way of taking him out.
Somebody placed a bet on Brock Purdy under snaps, and they said, hey, guess what? Guess who you guys should sign?
Maybe it was Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's been making some headlines. Did you see this?
No.
I don't know if I should say it, but I'm going to. So there was an interview that a former Rams, I believe it was a defensive coordinator, went on. And he said when Pete Carroll was in Seattle, they put him in a hotel in Seattle with a furry convention. On purpose.
Yeah, I did see this.
Every time they go to Seattle, it's in correspondence with a furry convention.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think they said to spice up the away trips or whatever, because like everything was just so like monotone the whole trip.
Whatever works, man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I cannot believe that the 49ers at the same time is just, the Titans, I think you can blame the last 2 years of offensive line play on those two guys specifically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, it was both of them. And then last year, PT, was it the Packers game when he just got absolutely bulldozed? Like, and the Niners at the exact same time say, hey, we don't want just one of them. We want both of them.
This is really going to help our line. We love this.
Yes. There's a chance neither of them make the roster, but that made me laugh just seeing that pop up, that not only did you sign Andre Dillard, but PT is back in the league too.
I'm at a loss of words. I really am.
Funny.
I don't know how to describe my feeling right now. Like, this is so dumb. That's the best way to. This is the stupidest thing on planet Earth, to allow a team to sign both of these guys that were both turnstiles.
Yeah, Adam Bingen just texted me that tweet too. I cannot believe that they did that at the exact same time.
I hope Jared's listening from Cabo.
Jared would be. I think Jared wouldn't be able to speak. He'd be laughing so hard at this.
This would be the next hour of his show.
Yeah,
it really would.
I remember he told Ian when Jamal Adams signed in August that was a 4-hour topic, that he could do a whole show on Jamal Adams signing with the Titans. Jamal Adams made it, 6 weeks with the Titans?
Yeah, played like 2 games.
This might be like all of today and all of Monday on PT and Dillard signing with the 49ers.
I love it. This is groundbreaking.
It's funny because when I said breaking news, you guys thought that like the Titans had traded Will Levis.
Yeah,
or something
that's exactly
like
what I
that.
thought.
No, even better. The 2 worst tackles in the league signed with the same team at the exact same time. Andre Dillard, Nicholas Petit-Frere, back in the league. They're teammates again. And the Niners better hope that they don't get injuries on that line, because if you have them bookending that line, get ready to learn 2023 Tennessee Titans.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to add up how many they have, like sacks combined, they have allowed. And I cannot get it off the top of my head right now. I'm researching as quick as possible. Because, think about that. Between the both of them, they have to easily have over, 30, 40 sacks, right?
Oh.
Allowed?
Within the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Within the last 2 years?
Did Dillard play at all last year? I think he was on a team.
He was on the Packers last year.
Right, yes, he was on the Packers, but I don't think he played very much.
Yeah.
And PT was in and out of the lineup. It was like, all right, we can't play PT anymore. And then somebody else would somehow be just as bad. And they're like, all right, let's throw PT back in there and see what happens. Yeah, Jalen Duncan, John Ojukwu.
That's what you're going to tell me next. Jalen Duncan is signing with the Chiefs or something.
Oh, my goodness. The 49ers. Breaking news.
Wow.
Andre Dillard, Nicholas Petit-Frere, both signing in San Francisco.
Now Rand has something to write about at CBS with his new job.
I wonder if Rand recommended them. If John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan called Rand, they were
These are my guys, man.
Hey, we need some tackle depth. Do you have any recommendations?
If I'm Brock Purdy, I'm at Trent Williams' house right now with a protein shake. You need a massage. Like what can I get you, big guy?
A boom box and some flowers.
Whatever you need, just relax, take it easy.
Hey, Trent, I need you for all 17 games this year. And if I'm Brock Purdy, I might be reconsidering signing that extension, being like, hey, if these are the kind of guys you're bringing in to protect me, maybe I want to hit free agency in a couple of seasons.
So I did a little research here. 12 sacks for Andre Dillard when he was with the Titans, which is kind of crazy.
He got benched at the end of the year, though.
Yeah. And then Nicholas Petit-Frere last season, from what it says online, 15 sacks. So, across all 3 seasons with the Titans, 15 sacks.
Okay.
So
close to 30 with the Titans for both those guys. Get ready, Niners fans. I have to text my dad. He's a 49ers fan.
How? I'm sorry. That was really rude.
He liked the colors growing up.
Oh,
it's fair.
Yeah.
Your family and the way you pick sports teams.
I mean, my dad's teams are Pirates, Blackhawks, 49ers, Mavericks. All 4 cardinal directions.
He's covering the whole
He's got
country.
the whole map. Yeah. So I have to text him, say, hey, if Trent Williams doesn't play all 17 games, Brock Purdy's not playing all 17 games. I can promise you that. Breaking news. Again, if you just tuned in, the 49ers have signed tackle depth. Andre Dillard, Nicholas Petit-Frere.
I can't believe we're talking about this.
2 birds with 1 stone. I just got them both.
Just go ahead and sign Jalen Duncan while you're at it.
Jalen Duncan.
I mean,
John Ojukwu. Just bring them all in. Say, how can we, you know what? Maybe this is what it is. Maybe the 49ers don't want to pay Brock Purdy, and they're like, we need the number 1 pick next year.
So let's kill him.
So let's recreate what the Titans did last year and bring in
they're colluding against
the
him.
2 worst tackles in the league.
Break down Nicholas Petit-Frere real fast. 15 sacks out of those 3 seasons, 10 of those came last season.
Yeah, and he didn't even play the whole year.
God. Yeah, so just putting that out there, Niners fans.
I think we could block better.
I will say, and I like the signing when they made it because he's a starting level tackle, but Dan Moore allowed more sacks than that last year too. So fingers crossed that he is that was more of a Justin Fields, Russell Wilson problem than a Dan Moore problem.
I told you guys when this signing happened, my nerves went from, they got a left tackle, but wait a minute.
He gave up the most sacks in the league. But as Jared has said, and I agree with him, he was a starting left tackle on a playoff team, which those don't hit the market very often.
Probably the hardest defensive division.
He's got to play Hendrickson. He's got to play Owe. He's got to play Myles Garrett, obviously.
But that Steelers team, though, they always have a really good defense that keeps them into games.
Right. They're winning games 13-10.
The Titans, on the other hand, come on.
They're losing games.
We'll see.
42-13.
But I can almost guarantee Dan Moore will be better than both of the guys that just signed deals with the San Francisco 49ers. Again, Nicholas Petit-Frere and Andre Dillard, Nashville's finest, are heading to the Bay. They will be 49ers next year. 615-737-1025. If you want to chime in, you can text or call. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Take a break. Be right back. Talk some more Titans after this. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt here, in for Jared Stillman here on Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt in for Jared Stillman today. We're bringing you up to coverage of Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Game 1 out in Knoxville. Huge series between the Vols and the Vandy boys. And again, pregame coverage with Andrew Allegretta at 4:15, first pitch at 4:30. We're talking Titans, rookie minicamp starting today. We'll get some videos tomorrow. First look at this Titans rookie class. Did want to quickly just wrap up the breaking news that we got in the last segment that Nicholas Petit-Frere and Andre Dillard in a package deal are going to the San Francisco 49ers. I know everyone's always said the 49ers have the best roster in football for the last 3 years. Man, they're doing everything they can to end that signing.
It's not them anymore for starters.
Well, yeah, it's not. It's the Eagles now. But sure. PT and Dillard, they're a package deal. They go together, bookend tackles, if you want a horrible offensive line.
I mean, we were just talking about it. The start of this was Dennis Daly.
Right. A texter on our text line said the 49ers also need to add Dennis Daly. Jeff chiming in with that. Yeah,
Thank you, Jeff M.
I mean, you could complete the Triple Crown. You could have the Infinity Gauntlet of horrible Titans tackles if you can add Dennis Daly, Jalen Duncan, and John Ojukwu.
Cam Ward's on the TV.
Be like Thanos.
There he is.
Oh, there he is on ESPN. Cam Ward, his first day in a Titans uniform. And we will get to see him tomorrow as, I believe, again, I think it's 12:30 to 1:30. We're going to get some stuff coming out of there from our reporters. So make sure to keep an eye on X during that time. But who else do we want to see? And I think for me, it starts with the pass catchers. We talked a lot about Xavier Restrepo. I'm excited to see DK and Iamaner because DK, I think, he's more of the high risk, high reward kind of guy. Like, he's super fast, but you don't know if he can do all of the other things that come with being a wide receiver. Can he make contested catches? Is he a good route runner? I'd like to see what he's able to do working with Cam Ward. And Iamaner, I thought that was a steal.
Yeah.
I think tomorrow is the first time we see maybe, okay, is this guy going to be more of a depth piece? Maybe like a Tajay Sharp kind of guy? Or could this guy end up being your number 2 wide receiver by the end of his rookie year?
I think I'll go on the other side. Oladejo. I'm very curious to see what he looks like. That is the one pick I am very, very concerned about looking at it. I'm like, there were just better options at the time for an edge rusher, and you got probably the rawest of them.
Right.
Like, he just flipped to edge last season.
Yeah, he does not have a full season as a pass rusher.
And then I believe it was TD. I hope I'm crediting this correctly, but he was asked, like, when did you feel like edge was your position? And he's like, yeah, Senior Bowl is when it started to click. I was like, Senior Bowl?
Well, you look at the Senior Bowl clips of him in those like one-on-one drills, and you can see why people like his ceiling. Like the speed and the power, like you can see it, but it is very raw from Oladejo.
I just think he's too much of a project for a second-round pick. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But to each their own. And I'm curious to see what he looks like tomorrow or this weekend at rookie training camp or mini camp, not training camp. I'm just curious to see how fast can he get off the line? How quickly can he get to the quarterback? Because you draft an edge rusher to hit the quarterback.
Right.
Can he do that effectively? I guess we won't find out a lot, but we'll find out kind of a general idea of what he looks like.
I was going to go a different direction. If you had any comments,
go ahead.
I'm more looking towards the secondary. You mentioned one-on-ones in the first hour. I'm really intrigued to see what there is for the secondary. I mean, right now they have, I think, the 2 starting corners is Roger McCreary and Jarvis Brownlee Jr. That's it. I mean, obviously, Jerry Sean has his own situation going on outside of football, but at the same time, you have Gabe Judy-Lawley, Marcus Harris, Darrell Baker. I mean, you got a few guys that are their rotational cornerbacks, but at the same time, to me, there's not a lot of depth. There's not a lot of consistent depth that I'm really like, you know what? This is a secondary I can really trust.
I'm glad you brought that up because there's an undrafted guy who has gotten a lot of headlines. I think there's some off the field stuff with him. Jamari Harris from Iowa. From what I've seen, I think he was a talent that deserved to be drafted, but I think there were some off the field concerns. He was a second team All Big Ten player last year at Iowa. had 27 tackles, 3 interceptions, a touchdown, started 10 games. From what I've seen, again, it's not like I've sat down and watched Jamari Harris play football a whole lot. Iowa didn't end up on my TV very often. But
why not?
From what I've seen, this dude has the talent to make this roster. It's just going to be whether all of the other stuff that comes with it follows him. The other undrafted guy that I want to keep an eye on, and similar to Oladejo, you're probably not going to see a ton from the defensive line. The offensive line is not like they're in pads. But Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon from Florida, 6'7", 316 tackle. They did I mentioned earlier, they did the like first day of school video. If you go watch that, that dude just looks like a man among boys. He is gigantic. And he was a good player, started 38 games at San Diego State. And then this past year was at Florida. He appeared in all 12 games, gave up no sacks last year for the Gators. So guy played SEC football. He's got the size, 6'7", 316. I think it's a good project. You get him undrafted. I'm not saying he's going to make the team, but maybe you stash him on the practice squad, build him up. Maybe that ends up being a guy. But I think those are the two, outside of Restrepo, those are the two undrafted guys that I'd have my eyes on tomorrow.
I mean, go ahead, Connor.
No, I was just saying, yeah, I agree.
Oh, well, to your point about the DB you were talking about had the off-the-field issues. I mean, just looking at stuff and just reading about him, it seems to be that he fits that Denard Wilson identity. Being
aggressive.
Aggressive headhunter. The only downfall, looking at some of the draft reports, scouting reports here, that he just relies heavily on just arm tackling, which, for the Titans' sake, that's a little concerning because they gave up a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns last season.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to have some depth there to where you can be not just a one-trick pony, but be multifaceted on the defensive side of the ball.
And neither of those guys, I would say, are going to make the team. But again, if you can get them on your practice squad, and who knows how they can develop over a couple of years. But you're right. The secondary, I was talking with TD, I think in December or something like that. And we were just saying how cornerback is a group that you feel locked in. Like, you've already got your starters. You've got depth there. You feel good. Because at that point, you thought you were going to have a fully healthy L'Jarius Sneed. You thought Awuzie was going to be back. That was kind of a shocker to see him get cut. Obviously, Roger McCreary in the nickel. And then Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and Darrell Baker. Like, that's 5 really good cornerbacks, at minimum serviceable cornerbacks. Now, Awuzie is gone. Who knows with Sneed? Looks a lot thinner over there.
Yeah. And you need depth. That's where I think, you guys answer this question for me. Is Kevin Winston participating in rookie minicamp, or is he still recovering from an ACL?
Doubt it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously there and he's probably in meetings, but I don't think there's any reason to rush him.
Yeah.
He did run his 40.
Yeah. Like, at the end of Penn State's season, he had an opportunity to come back and play, but he chose not to just get ready for the draft. So, I mean, yeah, he participated in all the draft stuff. I wouldn't see why not.
I'd assume he's a full go for training camp and probably even before that, but I don't know, maybe rookie mini camp, maybe they hold him out just to.
I say 1 or 2 drills.
Yeah.
I just plug him in 1 or 2 times. I mean, there's nothing that hurts that.
Because I think that doesn't help your cornerback room, but that helps your secondary for sure.
Right. And it just gives you more depth overall back there, because you do have Amani Hooker and Xavier Woods back there, who he played 17 games last year? I think he played the most snaps in the league last year. But Hooker is in and out of the lineup. He has been since he got drafted. So you never know. Winston could be relied on earlier than a lot of people would expect. Back to our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Justin from Greenbrier, going back to PT and Dillard going to the 49ers, says Brock Purdy needs to be dressed in a 49er themed Matador outfit, complete with cape, so he can olay all the defensive ends that will be charging him down like bulls. It's a good point. Yeah. I mean, I cannot believe they signed both of them at the same time.
That is Titans fans everywhere are laughing about that.
All of the comments on like the Rap Sheet tweet and the Schefter tweet are just Titans fans laughing. So funny. I can't believe Jared's not here for this. Jared, I think there would have been,
let's call him.
There would have been probably 30 seconds of just dead air of Jared laughing into his microphone, seeing that.
Let's call him.
I love it.
Straight from the beach. Straight from Boca Raton.
Thoughts on PT getting another chance in the league?
Well, He's hijacked our show before. Let's just have him hijack his show since we're hijacked.
That is true. That is true. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt in for Jared Stillman today. Skyler on our text line says the Titans need Gunnar Helm to take over that tight end 1 role. We'll talk about Helm coming up next in that tight end room. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to chime in. The 615 Open Charity Golf Tournament benefiting Folds of Honor presented by Gary Force Accurate at Hermitage Golf Course is on Thursday, May 29th. You can sign up to play or sponsor at 615open.com. We're talking tight ends on the other side. Stillman and Company, 1025-1063 The Game.
Did you see anything in particular that kind of accounted for his huge year? Didn't do too much the first 3 years there in terms of production, but what were some of the things he did particularly well that finally Helm?
Helm. Yeah, he was another guy that just continually got better too. He was a former receiver in high school that made the transition to tight end at Texas. And I think that was part of the, you're looking for these guys that continue to get better. Like I mentioned with DK and with Helm, they got better every year. And he had a big season last year. But those are the traits that you look for. And that's what you hope to continue here when they get to the league.
That was Titans GM Mike Borgonzi talking about Gunnar Helm, the rookie tight end out of Texas. Going to get our first look at him tomorrow in rookie minicamp. Starts today. Media availability is tomorrow. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt filling in for Jared Stillman today here on Stillman and Company. What does the Titans tight end situation look like? We had a conversation a couple of weeks ago on the Saturday show about how tight end was a position where the Titans clearly needed an upgrade, but just didn't have the draft capital to go get somebody who would be significantly better than Chigakonkwo or Josh Wiley. And in free agency, there really wasn't anybody out there. Like Evan Ingram, I think, was probably the best tight end available on the free agent market. And I don't know if that really moves the needle all that much for me. But Gunnar Helm, coming out of an SEC school, a guy who I know people have talked about, he doesn't have any really elite traits. Like he's not super big. He's not super fast, but he just gets open and catches the ball. I'm wondering if that's what the Titans need. Like Chig and Wiley are super trait focused. Like Chig is fast and Wiley's big. Could Helm just be the guy who finds the holes in the defense and ends up being the best friend for Cam Ward at the tight end position?
Yeah, I've mentioned this before. To me, Gunnar Helm is normally you want a veteran tight end to be the safety blanket. Gunnar Helm is that, but as a rookie. I've watched his tape at Texas this past season. He just finds himself open in the flats and was Quinn Ewer's just safety net. And like he's one of those tight ends where if you need to throw something over the middle, right behind the linebackers, Gunnar Helm's your guy. You're not going to get, hopefully Cam Ward is not Derek Carr and throws hospital balls over the middle and get your wide receivers hurt.
Apparently Shador does now too.
Yeah, that we're discovering that on Twitter as we speak. But Gunnar Helm, he showed up in big games for Texas last year when they were top 25 matchups. I think against Michigan last year, I think stat line was 7 for 98 and a touchdown. Like that, you can't get anything better than that. And don't get me wrong, like Michigan had a pretty solid defense last year.
Can I give you a Fireball Hot Take Friday take?
Sure.
Yes, it's Fireball Hot Take Friday. Connor, what's your hot take?
Gunnar Helm will be tight end 1 at the start of the season.
I don't hate it. I would probably lean by the end of the season, Gunnar Helm will be tight end 1.
But that doesn't make it a hot take.
No, yeah, I agree. That's more of a lukewarm take.
Frazier stole the words out of my mouth. And now I can't speak. A rookie quarterback's best friend is a tight end. And I think a rookie quarterback and a rookie tight end developing together is what you need. I think Gunnar Helm, granted, he is not an elite level developing tight end, but I think he is the right kind of tight end for Cam Ward to have to be a safety blanket. And that's why I think he will jump Chigakonkwo and jump Josh Wiley in the depth chart and become tight end 1. I think he will be kind of a goal line tight end safety blanket guy. Cam Ward doesn't have his first read open, doesn't have his second. Oh, look, there's Gunnar Helm, safety blanket, pick up maybe 5 or 6 yards on a dump off. I just think Gunnar Helm is that kind of player, and I think that's why he'll be kind of a solid piece coming forward.
I'll say this about Gunnar Helm. If I had to give a player comp for him, I'd go with Green Bay and a guy like Tucker Kraft. I feel like that's probably the best player comp.
I could see that.
Because that's how Green Bay plays. They use the tight end a lot. If it's you shed a block and you have your tight end out in the flats, I could easily see the Titans doing something like that.
And if he's Tucker Kraft, I think Tucker Kraft would be an upgrade over Chigakonkwo or Josh Wiley. Like both those guys, it's like just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. It's like every time Chig and Wiley go 3 straight weeks, going like 1-2 catches for 17 yards, they have a big game or they make a big catch and you're like, oh, okay, maybe they can end up being the guy. I'm kind of ready to just be done with.
I mean, when I say Chigakonkwo, what's his best trait?
Speed.
He's fast. Can he catch a ball? Nope.
He used to be able to.
Can he catch a wrench?
I might have said this before.
Can he dodge a ball?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. I think I've said this before. I can name the moment where Chigakonkwo, where it started going downhill. And it was a preseason game. After his rookie year. His rookie year, he had all that promise. He had the big play against the Chiefs. He had multiple big games, and everybody's like, wow, we got a steal in the 5th round. We found our tight end. And in the preseason game against Minnesota, he had back-to-back drops where they just kept trying to feed it to him to give him some confidence before they pulled him. This was in like the first quarter. And he dropped back-to-back passes. And I was like, uh-oh. And I don't know if he ever got his confidence back after that.
No. I mean, there were multiple times last season where he just had dropped passes in the end zone. Wide open for a touchdown, couldn't hang on.
He had the great catch in week 1.
Yeah.
Before the shovel pass heard round the world from Will Levis.
The beginning of the end. The first of many.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when the Titans drafted Chigakonkwo, there were a lot of player comps to Jonnu Smith, right?
Yeah.
I'm not far-fetching that.
I don't think he's as big as Jonnu, but yeah, like I think it was the same type of player.
Because I remember in that draft, the Titans passed up on Isaiah Likely out of Coastal Carolina, and I was so upset by it because I think if the Titans were to be a step ahead of everything, Isaiah Likely would have been a perfect fit for this offense. And of course, they're not thinking, 2-3 coaches down the line and 3 or 4 GMs down the line that they're going to go grab Isaiah Likely before all this happens. But I just think getting a guy like Chigakonkwo, sure, there was some upside, but Isaiah Likely was, in my opinion, a proven talent out of Coastal Carolina.
I still get mad about was it the 18 draft? Yes, because 17 draft, the 2017 draft. The Titans had 2 firsts and 2 thirds. They took Corey Davis and Adoree Jackson. In the 3rd round, I knew the Titans needed another wide receiver and another tight end. Guess who I wanted? Cooper Kupp and George Kittle. Guess who they took? Taywan Taylor and Jonnu Smith. Not that Jonnu was bad.
I like Jonnu.
But
Jonnu did his job.
Right. Jonnu, I think, has one of the top 5 most memorable moments of the Titans run from like 16 to 21 with the one-handed catch in the corner of the end zone against the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think the Raymond touchdown a couple plays later is probably up there too. The Logan Ryan pick 6.
Yep.
And then, probably a couple of Derrick Henry runs are in there too.
What about Derrick Henry jump pass?
The jump pass, yeah, and then the 99-yard touchdown against the Jaguars. Like I think those
are perfect passer rating, by the way.
Yeah,
right.
He does.
Those all kind of fall in the same for me, but like Jonnu Smith, you got to give him credit. He made that catch that really.
I mean, he did his job, especially following up Delaney Walker. I mean,
right,
he was serviceable,
and he had a big year with the Dolphins this year.
Yeah,
he was the one trying to help Tyreek Hill when he was getting arrested heading to the stadium.
He's a role model for sure.
And Gunnar Helm doesn't have to be George Kittle or Travis Kelce. If he could be Jonnu Smith, I think that would be huge for the Titans to just give Cam Ward an above average tight end option. Because we saw how important Delaney Walker was for Marcus Mariota. When Marcus was playing his best, it was when Delaney Walker was playing his best. I believe it was the Patriots game or something. He hit him for a deep touchdown. There was the Saints one that bounced off the defender's helmet. I'll always remember that one. But
Retro Bowl.
Delaney Walker was so important to Marcus Mariota. Hopefully Gunnar Helm can end up being tight end 1 at some point this season.
That's my Fireball Hot Take Friday take of the day on the Friday.
I love it.
It's Fireball Hot
It
Take
is a
Friday.
Fireball Hot Take Friday. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to chime in, you can text or call our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This week's Nashville's Best Deal is celebrating National Barbecue Month. Get a $50 gift card to Central Barbecue in Capitol View for half off right now. Try their new barbecue sampler, ribs, wings, and barbecue sliders. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals right now while supplies last. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt in for Jared Stillman today. We'll wrap up our conversation on Titans rookie minicamp after this here on Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt in for Jared today. Jared out of town for about a week, taking a little vacation. It'll be a mixed up schedule next week. I'll be on with Derek Mason 3 to 6 Monday and Tuesday, and then Adam Vingan 3 to 6 on Thursday, and then I think it's Rex Road and Kaharski on Wednesday from 3 to 6.
Cinema.
So
I can't wait for that.
Still going to have some fun afternoons. Hope you'll tune in. We're wrapping up our conversation here on Titans rookie minicamp. Starts today, and we will get more information tomorrow. But we did see I believe it was on SportsCenter, they showed Cam Ward coming out onto the practice field for the first time today. There's going to be overreactions. We started the show with this, that no matter what happens tomorrow, throwing on air, there's going to be overreactions to Cam Ward. If it's good, the people who already like Cam Ward are going to flip out and say he's bringing us a Super Bowl. If he's bad, the people who wanted to trade the first pick are going to say, see, we could have taken the Giants offer and gotten a huge haul. Instead, we have this guy. Just, take a step back. It's 2 days in May.
Easy, big fella.
We've got 4 months until these teams take the field. We got a while to go. Don't need to overreact quite yet.
You're not wrong.
I know I'm saying this to just deaf ears because I know for a fact on Monday the text line is going to be full of, oh, did you see that throw Cam Ward had? It was a duck over the middle of the field. We should have taken the Giants pick and taken Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
We're going to get it.
Easy, big fella.
I don't know about that one, Chief. I would listen. If we're going to go that route, might as well just take Jackson Dart at that point. If you wanted the Giants pick, just take Jackson Dart.
Again, we talked about Joe Shane calling Mike Borgonzi. Clearly, they wanted Cam Ward bad. And I'm not saying the Giants are the model front office or model franchise, but if you have other teams offering up, it was what, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a third to move up 2 spots, I think that's a pretty good endorsement of the guy that you're picking. That's all I'll say. But I'm excited to see Cam Ward tomorrow. I'm excited to see some of these videos. And again, we're not overreacting. The pads aren't on. Live bullets aren't flying. But I think it'll be cool just to see him get out there with some of his teammates and see if, there's any rapport being built with some of these other pass catchers. We've talked about Helm and Ayamanor and DK as well.
You're right. We have been talking about them. And I just want to see him just sling the ball down the field. Just sling it. I just want to see it. Because I feel like that's what's going to grab everybody's attention. If he connects with the Restrepo on like a 60-yard toss, I'm fine with that. It just gives somebody, for somebody that has changed their mind on wanting Abdul Carter as the number 1 overall pick, give me some reassurance.
That's
all I want.
I think it would be objectively hilarious if he throws a ball into like triple coverage and is just completed in the back of the end zone. And then he does the Spider-Man celly that Will Levis kept doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be really funny.
The Cam Ward celebration doesn't work when you're trying to talk into a microphone like that. Cover up your mouth. But
I don't even know what it is.
I don't really understand it either. Cam needs to explain it a little bit.
I think we should have that at a press conference as well as tomorrow. Let's have Ayamanor. Is that how you say it?
Ayamanor, something.
Well, that
like
just proves my point.
Yeah,
have him come up on the podium and just say his name.
Yes. Can you please just say your name and we'll all get on the same page? I can get the tough ones like Nico Iamaleava. I got that quick. Yeah. Ayamanor is tripping me up.
I thought it was Ayamanor, which is just easier for me to say.
Where do you put the emphasis is the question. That's, I don't know.
So if you could call in, Alec, and let us know.
So
we greatly appreciate
the other one that's going to be difficult to pronounce is what? Femi Oladejo.
Oladejo.
His full, it's what? Olawafemi Oladejo? Is that the full name?
Wow, that was
Look
really
at
good.
you. You're like a tourist.
See, I can get some of the tough ones, but Ayamanor trips me up.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just
I agree. We need him to say his name.
Please say your name.
That should be the first question.
And you can go.
Excited for rookie minicamp this weekend. Also exciting, coming up in less than an hour out in Knoxville, Game 1, Vanderbilt and Tennessee baseball. And we touched on it right off the top of the show, how important this series is. Like these two teams, their resumes are neck and neck when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Vandy's metrics are a little bit better. Like Vandy's way up there in the RPI. Tennessee isn't quite that far up, but Tennessee's got a couple of more wins. I think Tennessee's like 38-7, Vandy's 34-10. So Tennessee's got a few more wins. They're both 14-10 in the SEC. So this is a huge series when it comes to SEC seeding, NCAA tournament seeding, who's hosting. The team that comes out winning 2 or 3 of these games, I think probably locks themselves into a top 8 seed where you guarantee yourself a chance to host all the way to Omaha. The loser probably has to do a little bit more. You might have to make a little run in Hoover if you're going to get yourself into that top 8.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is my gut feeling, and maybe it's because I'm hungry, which Frazier says all the time. This series is going to come down to the wire, and we're going to have a rubber match on Sunday. It's going to happen. I just feel it. I just think it's going to happen.
Last year, we didn't get a rubber match at Hawkins. I believe Tennessee won the first 2 games. Vandy got a big win on day 3 that honestly probably was the difference on them getting into the tournament and keeping that NCAA tournament streak alive. This year, this Vandy team is better than last year's Vandy team. With the pitching, J.D. Thompson's looked unbelievable the last couple of weeks. We were talking with Andrew last Saturday about how he's got, 25 strikeouts in his last 2 home starts.
That's ridiculous.
He's got to do it in the launching pad that is Lindsey Nelson Stadium. But J.D. Thompson tonight, that's always a good thing for Vandy to have him on the bump. And Connor Fennell, he wasn't.
No, that's the key for me. He needs to have a bounce back game this next
He was
game.
not great against Alabama on Sunday, but they still won the game.
Mm-hmm.
They came from behind and won. But yeah, I agree. I think you're right. We're going to get a rubber match on Sunday, and I think Fennell's going to be the key. Can he keep the ball in the yard on Sunday and help Vandy get that series win?
That Alabama game the other day was the first time. I mean, we've been covering Vanderbilt all season. That Alabama game from Fennell on Sunday was the first time I felt like, yeah, this game's out of his control.
Right.
Like he's throwing this away. He has been lights out pitching all year until that last game. So it's a matter of, can he recover? Can he get back to what he's supposed to be? I tend to think he can. He's too experienced and too talented not to, in my opinion.
Just like every Friday night game in the SEC, tonight is a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
Winning the first game is so important because if you lose, simple math, if you lose game 1, you have to win the next 2 games to win the series. So winning game 1 going to be crucial. J.D. Thompson going for Vandy. I haven't seen who Tennessee's starting pitcher is. Let me see.
SEC media is mind blown by that math you just did right there.
I know. I did that all in my head.
You can't believe that. I mean, that's unreal.
That's why we have him on.
Unheard of.
2 wins is bigger than 1.
It's almost as crazy as, a conference finishing 500 or something. It's never been done before.
I'm very intrigued about this Vandy Tennessee matchup because one, you mentioned it's a crackerjack box they're playing in, and having Tennessee out there as the second team in the SEC that I guess is for on base percentage, that is Arkansas is basically over them, but slugging percentage, Tennessee leads the SEC, and that is just concerning on so many levels because y'all are talking about the pitcher here for Vanderbilt needs to really kind of dial in. I think for me, when it comes to pitching, you're going to have to hit your spots. If you miss 1 or 2 spots, I mean, there is zero room for error on the mound today.
Lefty Liam Doyle on the mound for Tennessee today. Doyle this season has a 2.39 ERA. He's 8-2 with how many strikeouts? Lots of strikeouts, 115 strikeouts. So
here's the thing. Vanderbilt pitching is going to have to be on it because Tennessee offense has been down lately. They have not been able to score runs at the capacity they usually are able to. So if Vanderbilt can get hot and heat early, especially with J.D. Thompson on the mound, I think they can pull this one out. It may be low scoring, but I think if the pitching is on where it's supposed to be on, then they get the bats rolling a little bit in the launching pad that is Lindsey Nelson. I think they can get it done.
Huge series, huge game 1 coming up in just over 30 minutes from Knoxville, and we will lead you right up to Vanderbilt's pregame coverage starting at 4:15. One more segment for us. We'll continue to preview this huge matchup between the Vols and the Vandy boys. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt filling in for Jared Stillman today. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Wrapping up the show, Stillman and Company, brought to you by the Southern Bank of Tennessee, your bank for small business. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt in for Jared today, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Last call for texts and calls on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. If you have thoughts on this Tennessee Vandy series, we'd love to hear from you as we lead you right up to pregame coverage coming up at 4:15. First pitch at 4:30 from Knoxville as the Vols and Vandy boys do battle. We talked about how big of a series this is. Lots on the line in terms of Hoover and maybe who ends up going to Omaha in about a month or so. What's it going to come down to? In my mind, I think it comes down to Vandy's offense. I think the pitching is good enough to keep them in games. Do we see some of the power hitters from Vandy step up? Brody Johnston, Braden Holcomb. I think if those guys hit a couple home runs each, Vandy's got a chance to take this series. But it is tough when Vandy's team isn't built for a park like that. Tennessee's team is. They're a power hitting team. Vandy is more, doubles. We're going to play defense. We're going to pitch, and we're going to try and win some games. Tennessee is, we're going to try and hit 8 home runs every game and see if we can beat you.
That's where I'll counter you. I think it comes down to Tennessee's offense. If Tennessee's offense becomes what they are capable of becoming in their own stadium, I think Tennessee might pull this one out. That's why I think Vanderbilt pitching has to be on it. J.D. Thompson has to be on it tonight because Tennessee is going to come in hot and heavy. It's a rivalry game and with, massive implications towards Omaha. Or not Omaha, but
but it could be towards Omaha. Like, there's a big difference in hosting a super and going on the road in a super.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are charged up environments on a home campus where you got to go take 2 of 3 from one of the best 16 teams in the country, one of the best 8 teams in the country. If you're the 10 seed, you got to go play the 7th best team in the nation on their home field and take 2 out of 3. But if you're the 8th seed, you get to get the 9th team coming to you. I think this series could be the difference for both these teams on whether they're top 8 or not.
To kind of, round it around, pitching has to limit Tennessee as much as possible. And Vanderbilt's offense needs to get as many runs in as possible. Because I don't know if you know this, but whoever scores the most runs at the end of the game wins.
I did not.
Is that a fact?
It's a testable theory. Concepts and theories are 2 different things. They're both frameworks of which I'm ranting about my class that I just got a C in. But can you see I learned things?
Get degrees.
Hey, I got the hours. Can you see I learned things from school?
Yeah.
So smart. And just for context, last year, J.D. Thompson, we mentioned that Sunday game, Vandy salvaged the series, avoided the sweep at Hawkins Field, beating Tennessee 3-0 on Sunday. J.D. Thompson went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, 3 walks, struck out 9 in that game. So it's a very different Tennessee lineup than last year. You're not seeing...
They're a lot younger.
Right. Christian Moore's not leading off at the top of that order anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But still a very talented Tennessee lineup. And, it seemed like J.D. Thompson felt pretty comfortable against them last year.
Yeah, this year, Tennessee is ranking top 3 in every offensive category. Minus doubles, they're ranked 8th in the SEC. But everything else, it's either 2nd, 1st, or 3rd. They're everywhere on this SEC chart here. And, if Vandy really wants to beat them defensively, I think you have to play your outfielders towards the warning track and maybe in the gaps.
Ben on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, asks, how likely is it that each team makes it to Omaha, win or lose this series? I think both of them have a decent chance, but there's
a possibility they run into each other.
Right. We mentioned that D1 Baseball's latest projection has Vandy as the 8, Tennessee as the 9, which would mean a collision course at Hawkins Field if both teams win their regionals. But winning a regional is tough. Yeah. And we saw that 2 years ago for Vandy. They hosted a regional and lost. Oregon moved on. So it's just because you host a regional doesn't mean you're going to win it. And if you win that one, again, you're playing probably a top 10 team in the country and have to win 2 out of 3 just to get to Omaha. So I wouldn't say it's like 50-50 for either of these teams, but I'd say both of them have a decent chance. I'd say, 25 to 30% chance.
It's a really evenly matched matchup if you think about it. Like whatever Vanderbilt lacks, it seems like Tennessee has, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to come down to the wire. I'm telling you.
And Vandy, with the metrics that they have all the way up at the top in the RPI and all those advanced metrics, I think there was another metric that includes scoring margin that had Vandy as the best team in the country. I think that might be a little much, but I think Vandy's a top 10 team in this country. And a win on the road against your rival, the defending national champions, who are a top 15 team in the country, I think that would lock them in. If you get swept against Kentucky at home next week, maybe there's
that ain't gonna happen.
I don't think that's going to happen. That could change things, but I think Vandy or Tennessee, whoever wins this series, feels pretty good about being a national seed if you win this series this weekend.
Yeah, I think I'll add one more thing to this Vandy-Tennessee matchup. If Vandy really wants to hang in there with the big dogs of Tennessee, you got to play a little small ball. I mean, Tennessee, they rank top 3, top 4 in sacrifice bunts. And then you look at stolen bases, and they're up there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's to me, you got to really play some small ball. And Tim Corbin, he's been known to do that.
He loves it. He loves it.
And I think that's the best beauty point about baseball is that you can play small ball.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches don't want to do that anymore.
Manufacture runs.
Yeah.
See if Vandy can do it tonight against Tennessee. Going to be a fun one. Game 1 out of 3. Been fun hanging with you guys here on Friday. If you're out there and you like what you heard, we'll be back 9 to 11 a.m.
I was going to
tomorrow.
say, let's do it tomorrow.
Yes, we'll do it again tomorrow. Force Company from 9 to 11. David Reed, thanks for hanging out with us. It's been fun.
I had no choice, but
well, I will see you again on Monday. I'll be with Derek Mason Monday and Tuesday as Jared's on vacation. Enjoy Vandy and Tennessee coming up from Knoxville. Big game 1. Andrew Allegretto will be on the call. Pre-game coverage coming up next here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
See ya.